28 minutes from that moment. In the meantime, a brand new Fox poll shows Fiorina and Senator Marco Rubio are gaining ground on the frontrunners. Donald Trump still leading, with Ben Carson close behind. Fiorina and Rubio now tied at third with 9%. Meanwhile, the poll is shedding some light on the rise of the outsider. Republicans are not happy with the GOP. They are not happy with Washington. 62% of people polled saying they felt betrayed by politicians in their own party. Fox News contributor, chief political correspondent for the Washington Examiner, Byron, New York, with me on this. How you doing, Byron? Good morning to you.
Bill.
I just want to, make sure you're okay down there. What do you see in the poll? Trump's lead has maintained.
Well, what's interesting is that look at 3 Fox News polls, end of July, mid-August, today. Trump's position has stayed remarkably stable, 25, 26 points that whole time. What has changed is who is gaining on him. Ben Carson, look at those same polls, goes from 7% to 12% to 18% now. Fiorina from 2% to 5% to 9%. Marco Rubio doubles his support from 4% to 9%. So Trump's opponents are closer to him now than they were at that moment when he was really peaking in support.
We also asked this question. I find this fascinating. We wanted to know from Americans whether or not Trump is too blunt and whether or not he's too mean. 49% say he is. But 44% say we need that. It's not quite 50-50, but it's not too far off, Byron.
No, and it's certainly enough for him to find 25, 30% in the polls. And remember, he is in a multi-candidate race. He doesn't have to get a majority of the votes. Nobody does in a field this big. The other news in this poll is who is falling away from him. And, that support that the others are gaining had to come from somewhere. And the losers in this poll are Jeb Bush, who in that couple of month period has gone from 15 to 9 to 7% now. He's in the middle of the pack. And, of course, the biggest loser of all is Scott Walker, who was in third place in that Fox poll at the beginning of August, and now is out of the race altogether.
Come back to Jeb Bush. Why do you think that movement is taking place, Byron?
Well, he has not caught fire on the campaign trail, and he has had a number of encounters with Donald Trump, both directly and through the media, in which Trump appeared to get the better of him. There's no doubt the Bush campaign has been somewhat frustrated by Trump's rise. They don't quite know how to counter him. They believe he will ultimately fade. That's a rock-solid belief, but they don't know how to make that happen. And I think Bush has definitely looked kind of in a second-place role to Donald Trump for the last 2 months.
Let's just go over one more thing. If Donald Trump were not in this race, this is what you find. You find Ben Carson at 24%, Marco Rubio at 12, Fiorina at 11, tied with Cruz, and then Jeb Bush at 10, Christine Huckabee down the line. He has given no signal of concession. In fact, just in the last week, he said, this is a long haul, and you better be ready for it. But does that tell you anything if Trump were to second-guess his campaign?
Well, it tells you that outsider impulse that you were talking about at the beginning of this segment is still there. So you've got the Fiorina and the Carson, 2 very different candidates, but neither has held public office before, still attracting a lot of voters. Then you've got the Rubio, who perhaps has that ability to appeal to both sides in the party that wants the outsiders and the party that values some insider experience as well. So you could see if Trump were out of the race, you still would have an insider-outsider confrontation, although it would be more focused than it is right now with this giant field.
Wow, fascinating. Thank you, Byron. Good to see you. And
Thank you, Bill.
Enjoy the final hours of Pope Francis in your city.
Big day.
Byron, yeah, indeed it is. Thanks. In Washington, D.C.